Hi guys, I had a query from somebody who wanted to know was it possible to group a lot of objects and symbols together and move them all as one to save time in an animation? Now, the answer is yes. There's a very simple way of doing it. Now, I gathered from what they were saying is that they had previously wanted to assemble all of these objects and symbols together as if they were like building a tree or parts of a complicated item like a mosaic. But then at the end, when they wanted to move on to something else, they wanted them all to leave at once. Rather than just have them disappear, they wanted to animate them all off the screen quickly without having to animate all of the individual small little pieces. So I said I'd put this together before they actually got around to doing it manually because there is a quick way. So I'll show you what I have in mind here. If I go over to this project here, this is a project that was created by previous students. Now I'm just going to step through it using the timeline because exporting the animation with this capture software has proved problematic at best. So what happens is we start off with a blank slate and we move up to a leather kind of desk cover, and then these images swirl in like so. Hopefully this will all work in the screen capture. And then by the time they land in place, a hand comes down and stamps the words student projects, and then another hand comes down and stamps the words student exercises. Now, if you have a look at those bobbleheads there, they actually come up from behind the images and then pass in front of the images. So what's actually happening there, because we actually can't animate in 3D in this software, what we have to do is use a bit of trickery. So what you have there is you have 5 images on a certain layer in behind those pictures. So the pictures of the heads are on one layer. You actually see there in the center one where it says Kalen. You can just, there's a little error in it there. You can see that the 2 of them turn up. And at this frame here, what happens is 5 new heads take over and basically come down in front. And that's essentially how that works. There's a little glitch there. Okay, but we're going to do something very, very similar for what we want to do. So we've got about maybe 40, 50 individual pieces here. And what we want to do is at this particular stage, we want to group them all together as one and then swipe them off the stage. So I'd run this animation, but I know what will happen if I do. So what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is going to export everything that's on the stage as a single flat image. So we go File, Export, Image. Now hopefully these pop-ups are coming up on screen. And it will come up larger than life. We go on down here to magnification, we go Fit on Screen. And that's our entire stage. And there's a reason why we're doing this from within the software. If we try to use the window snipping tool, we won't get it perfect to the pixel. And when we drop it onto the timeline, there'll be a glitch between the way it did look and the way it does look, and the eye will catch that. So I'm going to choose Save. And on the desktop, I'm just going to type in here flattened image. Again, I hope the screen grab software is capturing this. I called it flattened image and I go save. And that window has now disappeared, or it should have done. So what we want now is we want to replace all of these images with our new image. Okay, so we're going to go File, I'm going to bring it back in, Import to Library, and we look for flattened image. There it is, and we go Import. Now, and there it is. So we have that there again. I hope this is all capturing on the screen grab. So what we want to do now is we want to insert this onto our timeline so we can change over from everything that's there at the moment to our new flattened image. So I'm going to put a blank keyframe in here immediately after all of the animations, and I'm going to drag our new image, flattened image, over and drop it onto our stage. I hope you can see that it's after landing there, and I've put it into position. Now, there was a little bit of action script that stopped it on the previous frame. I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to put it onto this frame. Now, okay. So as you see, as I dropped in between those, there's all our 100, there's our 40 or 50 images. There's our single image. Negligible, really. Let's make sure that this is at 0, 0. It is. My feeling is that little tiny glitch you can see is more a monitor issue, because it is perfectly in the same position as the previous one. Now I'm just going to turn this image into a motion tween. So I right click up here at 185 and I insert frame, and I right click anywhere in there and go motion tween, and I say okay to turn it into a symbol. And it's taking a second to do that. Oh, okay. Let's see. Pardon me. Okay, put that off. Can't have action script. Yeah. Put it in here. Keep put it in here, and then we put our action script in here. Okay, sorry. Pardon me. Wasn't paying attention. Now we right click and we go create motion tween. We say OK. And it turns yellow. Now all we have to do now is click on our last frame and drag that off the stage. So now, so what happens now is, we'll zoom out here to show you everything, is that our image should now, and again I hope the screen capture has caught up on this, everything should zoom into place like so. And then when we get to the very end, we consolidate all of those separate images into one image and we slide the whole thing off the stage. And that's a very, very easy way of doing that. Now you could, if you wanted to, bring in an image of a hand, like in an old Monty Python type effect, bring in an image of a hand and let it swipe from left to right, and as you do, have everything go underneath it. So that could be quite effective if you did it like that. You could do it with a paintbrush or something like that. You could just have a hand as if it was positioned or shaped as if it was closing a window or wiping a board with a duster or something like that, and basically just kind of slide it in that direction depending how you wanted to do it. There's a load of different ways of using that particular little trick, but as you can see there, it does work and it's quite effective. I'm tempted to run this and see how it works, but I know it's going to destroy the capture, but we'll give it a go. What you'll probably get is absolutely nothing. Okay, well, if you don't get to see it, take my word that worked perfectly. It all came on and then it all slid off to the right. But anyway, look, that's it. If you have any questions about how to do something like that, just give me a buzz. And I'll check this video and see how it worked. But if you have any further queries, let me know.